guys, welcome to the Homestead. So today we're going to ask the question, is America today ready to go to war? Listen, why does this pertain to homesteading? People will put in the comments, Zach, what you're talking about, this isn't related to homesteading. And this is why I do not get invited to a lot of these homesteading festivals. Because I talk about things and believe things and not shy about showing how I think about certain things when it comes to what's going on in our world. And all of this does pertain to homesteading because this is about preparedness. There are a lot of these homesteading festivals that don't want to talk about preparedness. It's just something they want to avoid. It's harsh for some of them because the homesteading community, a lot of it is just infested with these liberal ninny maggots. That's the best way I can describe it. And they want to talk about the softer side of homesteading. Oh, aren't my chickens cute? Or, look at my plants. And they're basically wuss women and very effeminate men. And I can't stand it sometimes. Guys, when you push preparedness to its logical conclusion, you will end up on a homestead. If you're serious about preparedness and you want to get into preparedness, when you push that idea to its logical conclusion, you will end up on a homestead every single time. Because it's about self-sufficiency, self-reliance. And you can't get that anywhere else. You raise your own animals. You grow your own food. You hunt. I think I'm going to do a video on the reasons why I don't get invited to some of these homesteading festivals. I am going to be at the Homesteading Expo in the Ozarks at Marshfield, Missouri at the end of August. You can Google that, Marshfield, Missouri, Homesteading Expo, end of August. I'll be speaking there. You can check me out there, but very few homesteading festivals will invite, little old me. Because I believe in certain things, and I'm not shy about it. And some of these things make people uncomfortable. Like that thing right there over there in the corner. That makes people uncomfortable. Guys, and I'm talking to guys here. If you can't put a lead stone through human flesh at 200 yards or 7 yards, you're an effeminate man. You're an effeminate man. And the sooner you realize that, the better, because you can correct that problem. I think that, are we ready for war today? Listen, the U.S. 7th Fleet is heading into South China Sea, heading towards Taiwan. It's the USS Ronald Reagan, and they have been warned. The Chinese have stated plainly through their papers, their communist papers, because nothing gets printed in those papers unless it's approved by the government. It's a state-run paper. Hey, don't say we didn't warn you, which is a very famous phrase in China. That's what they say before they go to war. Everyone knows that. If you know history, and you have seen history dating up, they say, all the way back to when they went to war with China. When China went to war with India, and then Vietnam when they went to war with the U.S. and proxy wars. No, it goes back farther than that. Don't say we didn't warn you. That's their famous phrase. And they have said that through their state media. Don't say we didn't warn you. So we'll see what happens. We're going to test that resolve. We've sent the U.S. 7th Fleet, a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, the USS Ronald Reagan, a very capable piece of hardware. But are the people running it capable? Guys, I was in the military. I went to basic training in 96. And my basic training, I went to infantry basic training, Fort Benning, Georgia, 258 House of Pain. And I'm telling you, my basic training experience was Full Metal Jacket. The first night I'm there, my Drill Sergeant Sutton, I'll never forget his name, Drill Sergeant Sutton, held a knife to my throat. It was a Spyderco. I'll never forget it. The first night I'm there, he held a Spyderco knife to my throat and threatened to cut my manhood off. It was still Full Metal Jacket. Basic training back then was still Full Metal Jacket. If you don't know what Full Metal Jacket is, go watch the movie. But parents, forewarned, it's salty. But that's what basic training used to be like. Not just during Vietnam, but during when I was in. But since then, they have come out with all kinds of things like stress cards and, resting places and all of this nonsense that has made men effeminate and weak. And I'm not just, I know because my sister married an I think he retired in E8. And he was in communications in the military, served throughout the military. He was in the Army. He retired in E8, and he told me, he came home and he told me about the stress cards and these new soldiers coming in and wanting safe spaces and all this stuff and this video game generation of a bunch of wusses that we have today as kids, and they can't handle it. They can't take the stress and calamity of combat. I know another friend who is stationed over at Quantico. He's a Marine. He is the highest rank basically you can get, as an enlisted. I mean, he's not even enlisted. He's a warrant officer, and he's telling me the kids these days. He's told me, the military has changed. I don't know if the kids that we have serving today can handle the stress and calamity of war. I don't know if they can handle it. I'm really skeptical. Guys, I don't know what it's like in China as a child growing up. I don't know what it's like in Russia as a child growing up. I don't know but for us, it used to be cowboys and Indians and everyone shooting guns and playing war from the very beginning. You got up, you got to age. This is why it was that the Japanese general is like, there's no way you can invade mainland U.S. because behind every blade of grass there would be a rifle. And some people say he didn't say that, but I think he did. He knew he had awoken a sleeping giant. There's no way you can conquer America. But we have removed all of that mentality. There was a reason why you didn't mess with Sparta, because Spartans were bred for war, and we used to play cowboys and Indians. We played war from the very time we grew up all the way to adulthood. And so we didn't want to go to war, but if our country called us to go to war, we went to war and won. But in 1960, you took God out of schools. You took the ability to know right from wrong to a populace. You took the moral code away, and we've sunk into all sorts of debauchery since then. And you've basically eliminated manhood from all males in our society. What's the result? What result do you expect? U.S. 7th Fleet is sailing, and China has said, even threatened to maybe even shoot down the plane of, it was a low level, it was like somebody at the state-run paper, who said they could shoot the plane out of the sky. I mean, the dear love I have for Nancy, I worry about her health and well-being sometimes. Oh, there goes my alarm. I already did my push-ups today. I got up this morning, minimum 100 push-ups. Did my push-ups. Got my push-ups. 100 push-ups a day, minimum. That's my alarm. Says you better have those push-ups done by then. Drinking my coffee and just thinking about the world that we live in today. It's good coffee. I don't know what to expect. Are we ready for war today? These kids that we have serving in the military today, they have very capable equipment, very technologically advanced equipment. No doubt the equipment has been built by their fathers and grandfathers and engineered by their fathers and grandfathers. But the kids we have running the stuff today, are they capable? Are they able to go through the stress and calamity of combat? I don't know. I don't know if they're able to do that. I have my doubts. The world's in a very precarious situation with our economy. I really believe that China and Russia are setting up a new gold standard with the BRICS nations. China just opened up this last week a new gold exchange, to deal with banks in that region with gold. People are heading back to precious metals. The banks, the countries have always stocked precious metals. India and China are huge in precious metals. Russia, I just saw a report this week that Russia is moving as much gold out of Africa as they possibly can that can be harvested and bring it back to Russia. I believe they're setting up for a gold standard that's going to basically ruin our economy when it comes to our monetary values. It's just, we've been off a gold standard for so long, we don't even know what backs our dollar. There's nothing that backs our dollar anymore. We're $31 trillion in debt. We're $31 trillion in debt. There's no way that debt can ever be paid. And the more the banks raise interest rates, or the central bank raises interest rates, the harder that debt becomes to pay. A default is a mathematical certainty at this point. That, and then you have the threat of war. with a foe that we don't know really. I mean, people have been speculating on a matchup between us and China or us and Russia for a long time. And years ago, back when Trump was in office, I said, everyone was saying, we're going to go to war with Russia. We're going to go to war with Russia. And I was like, no, we're not going to go to war with Russia. We're not. Because the gravy trains are still running. No one gets off the gravy trains. Now, when the gravy trains stop running, which they are right now, the gravy trains have stopped. They are dead on the tracks. That's when you have to worry about war. Because that's how people in history have got the gravy trains going again, is manufacturing and warmongering and the military-industrial complex. And so that's when you got to worry. And, if you have, like me, and you got kids that are approaching military age, you're very worried. Because you know that my kids, I think my kids have been learning how, my kids have learned to shoot when they were 2 years old. They were out plinking with 22s, under daddy's supervision at 2 years old. So my kids are, but what about all the kids they're going to serve with? What about all these video game monkeys that are addicted to their phones and addicted to their PlayStations? And these kids aren't going to stand a chance in combat. They don't have the resolve. They don't have the endurance. They've never done a push-up in their life. How are they going to survive and be a battle buddy? Guys, I'm telling you, man, when I was in basic training, it was still Full Metal Jacket. I spent a week in a hospital in basic training. We're out on FTX. We're very close to graduation. We're getting close. I almost missed my graduation picture. I almost missed it. But we're on FTX, and I don't know how many days it was, but we're going through, and the other drill sergeants, because there's like good cop, bad cop. We have the drill sergeant Sutton, who was like the guy who holds the knife to your throat and, has the most colorful language you've ever heard in your entire life that you can imagine. And then you've got, he's Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, all wrapped up in one. And then you have the other two guys who are playing good cop. They're still hardcore, but, they're still pushing you hard, but they're kind of the, toned down a little bit. Anyway, so we're going through FTX, and one of those guys, he's like, okay, this is where you and your battle buddy are going to sleep tonight. And you set up your little pup tent, and I'm like, Drill Sergeant, that's poison ivy. I am highly, highly allergic to poison ivy. I can't sleep here. Can you put me somewhere else? He said, no, that's where you're going to sleep. I'm like, you don't understand. I'm allergic to this stuff. But what are you going to do? He says that's where you're going to sleep. That's where you're going to sleep. But see, if you never put up a pup tent in the infantry, with a battle buddy, what you do is you put your pup tent up, and then or your shelter halves, you put them together, right? And then you basically take your E-tool and you put it at a 90-degree angle and you carve a ditch out around that pup tent. And I'm doing it in very, very thick poison ivy. And if you know anything about poison ivy, the oil, by the time I have dug that canal, because if it rains, you want that water to run off the pup tent and then away from the tent. By the time you've carved your ditch through the ground and through all that, the oil is everywhere. I spent a week in the hospital, almost a week in the hospital. I spent almost a week in the hospital. I almost missed my graduation picture for basic training. Yeah, that's what basic training was like. I can tell you some stories. That was back in the day when they still took you in the back room and you thought different when you came out. Yeah, if you get the whole object of basic training was be the gray man. Don't let the drill sergeant ever know you exist as best as possible. I mean, it's crazy today. They don't even curse at trainees today, at enlisted. You're not even allowed to curse them out. The military has changed. I don't think we have the ability, the fortitude, the endurance to make it through combat today. We don't. How's it go? Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. And the cycle continues. We are going through a period of good times. It's been so good. And we got a lot of weak men that are going to create a hard time. So we're getting ready to go into the strong man creating business. It's going to be hard. I don't know. Let me comment below. Let me know what you think. Are we going to be able to deal with this? If we go into combat tomorrow with China, what is the future of the USS Ronald Reagan, Ronaldus Magnus? What is the future of that ship? What is the future of that boat? I'd be curious to know your thoughts. And dear old Nancy, let's be thinking of her now, because I want her to safely return. I want her to be okay. Be okay, Nancy. Okay, I'm going to enjoy my coffee, maybe do some more push-ups. All right, see you next time in the homestead. Bye.
Hey guys, I'm happy to introduce an American Homestead sponsor, Zervita Zeal. Now, first off, I only accept sponsors from products that I use and believe in. My family uses Zeal mainly because we want to ensure a healthy immune system. You see, it's made up of only whole food concentrates and includes no artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. The included sweetener is all natural from fruit and the stevia leaf. It's gluten-free, it's vegan, and it's kosher. In 2018, my youngest son was involved in a bike accident that resulted in the surgical removal of his spleen, and that's an important part of his immune system. And because we live on a farm, you can guess that having a healthy immune system for our family is very important. Some of the included ingredients are beetroot, chicory root, turmeric, moringa, blueberries, cranberry, goji berry, milk thistle, ginseng, alfalfa, broccoli, and so much more. It's these natural ingredients that can easily be made into a powerful and tasty drink that my family can make and feel good about. So sign up and give it a try today. Every purchase you make goes to help the homestead so that we can continue to make great homesteading videos for you. Link is in the description below. Go ahead, give it a try. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. I'll wait.